Welcome to the Mom and podcast. We're your hosts, Suzanne Kearns
and Missy Stevens. We want to help you through everything that happens in the ellipses, from your professional life to your emotional health.
You're a mom and so much more. Let's figure out what comes next together. Welcome to the Mom and podcast. I'm Suzanne Kearns, mom and writer, LGBTQ and sex ed advocate, and today officially have a daughter with a Texas driver's license. I mean, if you are regular listeners, you know this has been a year and a half in the making.
At least.
At least. This is so big.
And I'm Missy Stevens, mom and writer, foster child advocate. And this week I'm just sweaty and tired of it.
Oh, don't move to Texas, y'all. Seriously.
Oh,
it's just
had it.
I know, me too. But today we are so excited to be chatting with Jody Silverman. Jody is a coach and mentor supporting women living the empty nest and midlife chapter of life. We are so in there, Missy.
Yep.
Through her community, coaching, and fun experiences, she gives you the secrets on how to make this next chapter full of meaning, fulfillment, and fun. Jody gives you the permission to shift the focus that has been on everybody else, aka the kids, back onto you. And she shares her best tips and strategies from her own daring journey and helps women release fear and limiting beliefs, preventing them from stepping into their purpose and living their most daring life now. Because, you don't need to wait until the kids are gone. I mean, really, the empty nest. And we're going to talk about that too. But when not engaging in creating experiences for her community, Jody enjoys reading, tennis, wood-burning fires, and hanging out with her family. Welcome.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you, Suzanne. I'm so excited to be here talking to you.
We are going to have fun. And we shared a little bit about your bio and where you came from and where you are now. But we're wondering if you could just get in there a bit more and tell our listeners about anything that has really changed or impacted you over the years to lead to this place where you're doing what you are now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so much. So I actually started writing down like the steps that got me here because, it's been a 10-year journey for me. And, it's at 56, you can forget steps 1 and 3. For me, my whole career has been in sales, direct sales, marketing, advertising. I started my own print brokering business. And those who don't know that, it's really not that exciting. I sell printing and I have printers and I broker the deal between them. That was what I didn't know was that was my first entry into entrepreneurship. I don't know. I never even heard the word until I became a life coach. But it was about almost 12 years ago now where I found I had this business and it allowed me to be like in my kid's life, but still with my brain with adult conversation. And I found myself sitting in a really quiet space in this time and having my own business allowed me to pick up a hobby that I didn't know I loved, which was tennis, which you read in my bio. So that's a big part of the story because tennis became a huge part of my physical as well as my social community. I was captain of teams. I loved it. So I found myself one day, it was like about 12 years ago, sitting in this quiet space with nothing but my own thoughts, which can be scary in itself.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember sitting there. My daughter was a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate. Her name's Ellie. She's 27 now. And my son, Dan, who's 24 now, he was a freshman. And I was sitting there and I remember thinking, okay, so Ellie's leaving. I'm going to have all this newfound space. Daniel, not only being my youngest, but my boy wants nothing to do with going shopping, getting manicures with me. And if all I have left is this business of selling printing, is that enough? I remember thinking the question. And it was just like, hell no. I'm like, no, right? And I'm like, and in the same breath though, and I know a lot of your audience, your listeners are going to agree with this. In the same moment, I thought, no, this isn't fulfilling enough. I felt really guilty. Like, who am I not to feel fulfilled? Like, I have a great husband, 2 amazing kids. I mean, I wish I could sit here and I'm happy I don't have this like really sad story to share with you. So in that moment, I'm like, well, why don't I feel fulfilled? And it was like, all within like 1 minute, 60 seconds where I asked the question, a hell no, felt guilty, and then realized it had nothing to do with all that other stuff.
Right. Wow. That usually takes people about the 10 years. So
it was a very quiet space and I had, time to think about it leading up to it. But I realized that in that moment, the fulfillment was all about me. It wasn't about me as a wife. It wasn't about me as a mom. It wasn't about me as a daughter or friend. It was about me. It was about Jody. And although selling printing and having my own business gave me the freedom to be mom and a business owner and bring in income for my family, it was time to do something else that would bring a little bit more fun into my life than just selling printing.
Yes.
I didn't know what it was. I had no idea other than there was this feeling inside of me, something bigger, something different. And I did feel like I had a voice that wanted to be heard out
Mhm.
there, but I didn't know. So I just kind of let it land. And, when it's easy to reflect back, asking a question. And I have a friend whose whole business is all about curiosity and question asking, but asking the question, going through all the feelings and the emotions around the answer to the question allowed me to be open minded when opportunities came my way. And they did. And a new business opportunity came my way, which introduced me to life coaching and what that was. And for those who do know me, know that school was not my thing. And the thought of going and volunteering and signing up for like life coach school
More classes.
was total daring. Like I knew there was going to have to be a test. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to sweat again. Can I make a little cheat sheet? And anyway, so I was introduced to coaching and I decided I wanted to do this. I wanted to go through the training to develop the skills, see what it was about. And during the time that I started to go through the coaching right before life hits, right? Life hits you hard.
Mhm.
I had 3 family members in 3 years. In this whole time frame, becoming a life coach, changing my whole career, I had a lot of loss. Lost 3 family members in 3 years.
Hmm.
My kids went off to college, and I realized in that journey that I have always been all about moms. However mom looks like to you, however you feel like a mom, because you could be an aunt and feel like and be a parent. So
Sure.
wherever it feels like to you, not doesn't have to be mom in the traditional sense. But I've always been a mom about the mom because it is the only thing I've always said, Suzanne and Missy, that the only life event that can really take a confident decision making woman and knock her on her, is that of becoming a mom. I
For
mean,
sure.
I never had more doubt in my life than when
Mhm.
I handed this little baby and when they told me I had to get her dressed to go home. I'm like, how?
Yes.
How? So I became a life coach and I decided in that room with the 10 other people that I went through this training with that I was going to support moms. And I knew it was going to be through community because everything in my life was community.
Yeah.
And I started a Facebook group and I heard a speaker local to Philadelphia talk about her year of daring. And in that room and in that moment, I was like, oh, we're going to be moms who dare. And my journey led me to become a certified coach to speak directly to and support empty nest midlife moms so that they could discover the opportunity and possibility that was beyond the loss and the sadness that they were
Right.
experiencing. Because I was there living it. I was scared and having fun. And I was doing things out of my comfort zone and was so excited about it and scared, but it was exhilarating. And my
Mhm.
husband even noticed. He goes, oh my God, it's like you're like reborn again. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
like having fun. I wanted other moms to feel that way. So that's how this whole moms who dare and then speaking happened and who knew? And yeah, now here I am on your podcast.
Well, we're so glad. And we're going to talk a little bit about the daring as far
Yeah.
as like some of those new activities and stuff. But I feel like we're learning more and more. And a lot of the coaches we talk to tell us this too, that one of the most daring things women do in midlife is try to build friendships. And your show is going to be airing right before National Friendship Day.
Yeah.
So I think that perfectly ties in to this emphasis that you have on connecting with other women. And like I said, it's one of those things that is often easier said than done,
For sure.
especially because we kind of got used to over the years having the connection of our kids being the
Yes.
thing that made our friends for us, for better or for worse. So, really curious about your approach to both the hows and the whys of connecting and making those friendships in midlife.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly, Suzanne. Because our kids, it actually believe when they go off to college, they're no longer the conduits, right? We're not
Mm-hmm.
standing watching a soccer game from the sideline next to Missy Stevens, who, oh my God, we just hit it off, so we're going to be friends.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
so it is a hard time. Everyone talks about the loss of your child from your life, but there is that loneliness and space.
Right.
We have friendships over the years, and they're there for a reason. Some are lifetime, and some are not meant to be lifetime, and that's
Mhm.
hard. And when your kids do grow up, and advance through middle school and high school and went to college and out of college, some of these longtime friendships might not serve you anymore. And that's really hard for people to accept. I lost a longtime friendship and I just spoke to my husband about it. It was over 10 years ago. A lifetime friend since I was 2 years old came to an end. It was like a death. So yeah, it's important that you don't do empty nest or you don't do midlife alone because we are not meant to be alone. We thrive. And whether you are an introvert, an extrovert, whatever you call yourself, a group of friends can be 2 and a group of friends can be 20, whatever you want it to be. So I always tell people that because it's the one time in our life that our kids are not out there introducing us to people by default, that you're going to have to figure out a way to put yourself out there, get a little uncomfortable, but you have to also release the belief. There's another belief before I tell you some tips. The other belief that a lot of women have is, I have enough friends. I don't need it. I don't need. So there's those that feel like, okay, I could use some new friends. And then there are those that really never think that they have room in their life for new friends. And what comes to mind is the kindergarten song, make new friends, but keep the old. Or and the other's gold. So, I say for those of you that it's scary to go out there, how am I going to meet new people? Maybe you had a bad experience, the mean girl experience. Let me tell you, midlife, there are no mean girls. And if there are, yes, you're in the wrong group. Because in midlife, that's behind.
that.
That's why I really, Moms Who Dare, my community itself, we say we are drama free. There are no cool kids. There are no uncool kids. There's just moms navigating this new normal. So grab a friend, grab somebody in your life, whether it's a sister, a cousin, a friend, and ask them to do something new or different with you. Ask them to go to a movie in the afternoon with you. Ask them to go to a meetup. There's so much today that we didn't have where you can meet new friends. Meetup is a huge one. Meetup.com, if you haven't heard of it. There are meetups for any interest and hobby. There could be a knitting meetup, a running meetup, a book club meetup. There's meetups for single women, divorced women. There's meetup for anything that you have an interest in life. Cooking class meetups, if you want to learn how to cook. So that's a really great way because Meetup allows you to find like-minded people who are interested in your same interests.
Also, if there isn't one out there that fits one of your interests, you can
start it,
a
right?
meetup.
Yes.
Which can be also, that's kind of a more advanced step as far as getting out there. But it is kind of a low risk way. You don't have to go up to someone and be like, hey, will you come do this with me? It's just putting it out there in case someone is willing to be out there and receive it. So yeah, I do love that idea of the meetup.
Yeah. Do you have stories from your community, like of really successful, daring things women have done to make friends? Because I think you've touched on it a little bit, like with Meetup, but a lot of us are kind of cautious. And you've already touched on the many reasons why we might be. Maybe we've been burned. Maybe we just forgot how to do it. So if you have any success stories along with tips of people who've really gone out there and made a new community or built a bigger community.
I do. I have 2 in particular. One that was the most powerful, still today, one of the most powerful moments for me as the quote leader of Moms Who Dare, the convener of it all. It was at the very beginning. We had a small group of about 10 founding members of the group. And on my bucket list, I had always wanted to go ziplining. But my first time ziplining was not going to happen in like Colombia or Jamaica, or there was just no way. Right. So I live outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and there's a small zoo in a suburb outside of Philly called the Elmwood Park Zoo. It's a children's zoo. And I used to take my kids there when they were little. They have zip lining and a ropes course. So I'm like, well, I could do a children's zip lining, right?
I don't know. You might have to pull your knees up.
Yeah. It was actually pretty good. It wasn't too high, but it was high enough. We didn't have to do that, though, Suzanne. But the ropes course got me a little bit stumped. Anyway, I think it was 7 or 8 of us went. And it was like, I try to articulate this. So we get there, we're all geared up and they gave us the whole spiel on how to be safe. And we climb up, the first group goes, zips across to the next line and is waiting there. One of the last girls to go is a woman named Kathy. She always gives me permission to share the story. We didn't know. She didn't know. She was scared of heights. Until she climbed up and had a total freak out. So there we are. There's 2 other women behind her. She wasn't really the last one. And she was totally in fear. I mean, freaking out. Like, think of, as a kid, a moment that you were so petrified that you didn't know if you were going to come back from it. And it was a moment where I was almost all the way finished. And I'm watching. And we said, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. It's okay. You came here. This is okay. This is not, you don't have to be like that strong girl. We're all here together and don't do it. And long story short, she let everybody go. And she said, I got to do this. I really want to do this. So two
Oh.
of the women in front of her said, we will be here every step. We'll go first. We'll wait for you. We will wait for you. She got up. She did it. She screamed the whole way on the first zip line. I wish I had a video camera. They caught
Me
her.
too.
And they held each other and she breathed, they breathed with her. Then they went to get, and I watched this whole event unfold with this woman who was so scared. And it came out of nowhere. She had no idea she would react that way. Watching these other grown women just be there for her.
Mm.
That's bonding for life.
Yes.
Totally bonding. And these women, Kathy came with her friend Jane. They knew nobody else. They were all strangers. They left there. They are the core group of this community. They are so tight. They work with each other. They do business with each other. I know for a fact they get together outside of the group, and it's very fulfilling to see. And after every event, when it was all in person before, now we do virtual as well, but after every in-person event, the highlight for me was sitting back. We would go for coffee or go for lunch or go for dinner after whatever it is we did, axe throwing, escape the room, whatever it was, and watching them connect, talking about motherhood, sharing advice, sharing sad stories. Oh, I'm not the only one whose daughter said that to her. I'm not the only one whose son did this. And they do. They have deep-rooted friendships now. And I love it. I know one of them is a realtor. She sold her house and found her new house. It's been remarkable. It's
Oh, I
been
love
remarkable.
that. Missy, that makes me think we need to do like a monthly like mom dare like meetup in
Yes.
Austin. Wouldn't that be so
Yes.
fun? And
Yes.
then I would probably be
Because
the
there's
one that goes
so many
screaming down the
things
zip
that we're
line.
interested in. Like we have a lot of interest and we're on that precipice of like, we're going to have some time and
Yes. And
it's
sometimes
time
you
to
do
figure it
just
out.
need someone to tell you to do it.
Yeah, we did the Escape the Room, for example. We have one location here. They're all over the country now, right?
Oh,
Escape the
yeah.
Room. They have two of the identical rooms. So, everything, we're very competitive at the age of 50 something. We had two groups, 5 in each room. And it was just like, okay, ladies, we're not losing. We're not. But that was one story. The other brief story is Tammy, who is our resident travel expert. She's a travel consultant. She began as a social member in the group and upgraded to what's called a mentor member, where she can share her business and her expertise. She started her own spin-off community for women who want to travel and might not have friends to do it with. And I know for a fact, at least one of our core moms who we call ourselves the double darers, the members.
I love it.
She is, and in her group is the Wander Bugs. And Kathy's very active in the Wander Bug group. And so are some of my other moms. So we don't do something every month now. We do something in person every quarter because we shifted online. So now they form this subgroup that fills their zest for travel that they might not have a partner in life to travel with, but they have all these girlfriends to do it with now, and they're all making friends.
Oh,
So
I need to
that's
hook my
amazing.
mom up for that. I know she wants to do some more traveling and
Oh,
stuff. And
Kathy is wonderful, and it is scary to do things alone. It is. I was never somebody who loved to do anything alone. So if you can grab a friend, great. And if not, I can just say it is a dare. And maybe, like for me, I can refer you. I can tell you if you're a traveler, I will connect you to Tammy and have
Yeah.
somebody connect you with somebody if you want to, or go online and look and reach out to anybody who's the organizer of a community, whether it's, a meetup or whatever community. That organizer is going to be open and nurturing and caring.
yeah,
Because open, nurturing, and caring individuals start communities.
yeah,
True.
definitely.
That's so true.
Oh my God. Well, I think, one of the many things that people like to make excuses. I can make up probably 10 excuses right now why
I feel
I
called
couldn't
out.
go do a zip line.
I feel called out.
But I do think that a lot of that is this negative self-talk. And we've talked about this before. And so I know one of the things that you help women through is working through, shutting up that inner mean girl, or a nicer way to say that is just calming that inner self-talk. So what are some tips for if someone is like, yeah, I want to go throw some axes, to start taking that next step?
Let me just tell you about accent.
I want to do it so bad.
I have
I
to
do too.
laugh.
That'll be our first
I would fly
Austin
to
dare.
Texas just to do it with you because the first time I did, I'm like, axe throwing. Oh, it was the most empowering feeling. I don't know what that says about me, the fact that I absolutely love and excited about throwing an axe at something, but
I want to do it so bad.
So, and here's what I did once for the self-talk. So if you have a fear or a negative thing you tell yourself, because I don't know any woman who hasn't looked in the mirror and either thought or said, oh, I'm fat. Oh, look at my thighs. Like, okay, no. I even found this morning before we got jumped on. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. It's the same thing. How you talk to yourself is how the people in your life are going to start talking to themselves or talk to you as well. Because we're moms and our kids here. But with the axe throwing, here's a tip. If you go, get a 3x5 card, put the biggest negative thing you say or think about yourself on it. I promise you're going to hit the bullseye every time.
Love it.
Everybody. But yeah, so self-talk was my
do it
first.
today. Let's go today.
I'm very busy today, Missy.
I want pictures. I want you to.
Oh, we will.
So self-talk was the first thing I learned about when I engaged with my first coach. She stopped me in the first 10 minutes of our coaching call. And she's like, Jody, I just have to point out that the words and phrases you're using are not really supporting you in any way. I was blown away because I thought of myself as I'm a positive, optimistic person. And I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but I can promise you it was probably things like, well, I think I could, or I'm not really that good at that, but I would. And so, we're not aware of just how damaging what we think quietly and what we say out loud can do to our self-esteem and our confidence and how we show up in the world. And I think the research showed, and this was in Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles. I think the research showed that we have over 50,000 thoughts a day. And by the way, that's why we're tired.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. I'm like, oh
my God, I'm exhausted. And out of those thoughts, I think the same research shows that up to about 80% of it could be negative.
Oof.
And then I think another 30 or 40% is repetitive, like the same thought.
Yes.
Just imagine even if you never said, my thighs are fat, but you thought it over. I mean, how could you possibly like looking in the mirror? How could you possibly like putting a pair of shorts on? So, I do have a resource, the self-talk cleanup. It was my most sought after talk. It still is. And it starts with a simple yet powerful exercise of I am words and phrases. So affirmations. I'm sure you've talked about affirmations.
Yes.
But affirmations are just words or phrases that help get you in a more positive frame of mind and thinking. And the first step to cleaning up your self-talk is to becoming aware of what you're thinking and saying. So it's a practice. So practicing, noticing and paying attention to what you say, what you think before you say it. And that's a practice. And keeping notes, like when you wake up in the morning, here's a good one. Everybody listening, tomorrow morning, when you wake up and you look in the mirror, I want you to pay attention to the first thought you have when you look in the mirror. Okay. First thought.
I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, right. And write it down. When you pass the mirror, think about it. And then what my coach charged me with doing, and I'm looking up on my right, my original, I'm even going to grab it. My original, this is from over 11 years ago with my first coach. She said, I want you to take a moment. I want you to write down 7 to 10 words that best describe your natural gifts and your passions, all about you. And then she wanted me to put I am in front of it. So for example, like I am passionate. I'm a take charge person. I'm tough. I'm smart. I'm loyal. So start with 7 to 10 words. If you can't come up with 7 to 10 words, I have a dare for you. But you're going to come up with 7 to 10 words that best describe you. And you're going to change it to I am. And you can Google this, but I am are 2 very powerful words. And there's a lot of research and science behind this. What you say after I am is what your subconscious will believe as the truth.
I love brain stuff. I call it brain stuff. I love that brain science. We have that power to make changes. We just have to.
The first thing I just thought is how many times a day we just say, I am so tired.
Ugh.
Right?
I am so hot.
That Okay, that's legit true.
No, but I gotta quit
Wait,
focusing on it. Like, I
I am
can't change
further.
the dang weather.
How about I am so busy?
Oh, I hate the busy
Yes.
word. It's my least favorite word. I
And
Oh,
hate it. I
somebody
am
gave
so
me a
busy.
substitute for that. They said, instead of saying, oh my God, I'm so busy, I have such a full life.
Mm,
I mean, just think
mm,
about that. Say the difference. Like, I'm so tired, or oh, I had such an amazing weekend, and we were up
mhm.
late, and it was so exciting. And I'm just going to rejuvenate myself from it. Instead of I'm so tired, I am so excited, and I've used up all my energy on what we
mhm,
did this weekend. I need to recharge. Just shift it around. Like and it's a practice. So you want to take 7 to 10 words and make them I am statements. And here's your dare, your first dare. Should you only be able to come up with 3 or 4, that's fine. You're going to want to repeat them every day, twice a day, morning and night. And I'm telling you, I didn't make this up. I really didn't make this up. Missy, there's so much brain science behind all this, but I just share how it worked for me. And then you're going to call 3 or 4 people in your life, family, friends, coworker, whoever it might be. And you're going to tell them, because this is awkward asking, it's like, well, I'm fishing for compliments. So you're going to tell them
Right.
your new coach, Jody Silverman, gave you a dare and you have homework. And it's, could you please give me 3 words that you think best describe me? Not only will it give you the rest of your I am statements, it is the most powerful, can be life-changing exercise, because how these people see you is how you're showing up. And how you're showing up, you don't give yourself enough credit for. Trust me.
Wow.
I
yeah.
had one person send something back, brought me to tears. It had been a limiting belief of mine forever. And
Mm.
he just took it and knocked it out of my head. So
So
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah. I
and
went a little
scary.
yeah,
speechless when you said that because
Did you? I
actually,
mean, I could feel my chest doing the tightening,
well,
like,
it's just very timely because Zoe has a college counselor that she's been working with, and they're working on her, I guess, her essays and stuff,
right.
and gave us the assignment a long time ago to do these 5 words. And
Mhm.
I felt so much, I mean, I just finally finished it last night because we're meeting with the coach today. And I was like, well, but just in case she asks about it, I better have the assignment done. But it's a lot of, I don't think your friends are going to feel as much pressure on that, but I do think it is so meaningful. It can be meaningful to the person who receives it. It also made me realize that there's a few words that I don't really know the meaning of. I was using them because you have to get really specific
Oh.
with some of your words. Like, what's the difference between thoughtful and caring, and like all these different words,
Ooh.
because there's such a
Mhm.
different nuance. And you would think as a
yeah,
writer that I would know the nuance for some of these, but but again, when it's your daughter asking you for it, first of all, I'm
You want
like,
to be
oh my
really
gosh,
specific.
this shouldn't be the first time that I'm telling her these things. So I felt very like bad momish because I was like, oh shit, I haven't told her. I mean, these are things that I think of every time I look at her, but I just felt so much pressure to like say it exactly, and it's just trying to find the perfect word for just
Yes.
how like thoughtful and sweet and generous and everything that she is. So it's, yeah, it was
that's,
really meaningful for me to do it. So I do
Yeah.
think it is, as a receiver of that request. It's a nice exercise to do, and I don't think it'll take as much time. Like if Missy asked me to do it, I could probably knock her out a text today. but
it's
uh,
harder as a mom because you
but
want
as a
them
mom,
to,
it's a hard exercise.
Yes.
you want
And
them to
once
just,
again, as moms, we feel so much weight and pressure and doubt. And yes, you put all that on yourself as you're trying to find the right words.
But I do think, as we're talking about becoming empty nesters, if you are realizing you have someone going off to college that you've never said the 5 main things you think about them,
Mm,
maybe this is a fun exercise to do, even if they don't ask you for it.
uh,
It might help their own self-talk,
I might
maybe.
write it down and just quietly slip it to each kid because my boys squirm when I say nice things about them.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it. I sent her like the Google Doc. I was like, here you go.
That's how I
and
get
I,
one of mine to go to bed when he's doing this at night and I'm ready. I just start saying lovely things about him. He's like, night, see you later, bye,
yeah,
That's such
it's so
excellent.
different, daughters and sons. Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Oh
Wait, you
my
know what?
God.
It's a lot of fun. I don't know. I don't know that they might hide them in a drawer, but it's kind
Yeah.
of cool. And my mom did this, had my friends do this for me. I think it was for my 40th birthday. God, it's getting very long, the past. But all my friends took a rock and wrote 1 word on the rock for me.
Oh.
what a cute
I have,
idea.
well, it's a great idea. And all
Totally
those
stealing
rocks,
that.
Rocio said, and look, I wanted to look behind me because I had something else. My mom does all these cool things. My mom tells me all the time. So, and just so you know, we do put pressure on ourselves as mom. But if my mom told me I was thoughtful at any age, it wouldn't matter what she meant. It would mean everything to me, just however I translated that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure whatever words you came up with for your daughter, Suzanne, are going to be very meaningful to her, for her. But
Okay.
yeah, rocks are good. And yeah, I
What
mean,
a cute idea.
It's a
so
cute
yeah, so
idea.
definitely write your own words. And I think that's another thing, right? Like we don't tell ourselves how we like ourselves. I mean, I don't know. Midlife is an empowering time of our lives. It's a time where we get to stand up, look in the mirror and say, damn, I'm good. Like what? We
I'm still
are.
here and I have something to offer.
Yeah.
I think that, so say we get this negative self-talk out of the way, and I may just be speaking for myself, but then I feel this massive amount of pressure that I have to find my purpose for the next however many years. The kids are gone. I have this time. I know I have value. What is my purpose? And we only have a few minutes. I'm watching the clock, so we may not be able to get all into it, but you maybe have some tips to point us in the right direction to start.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to when I told you, like I asked that question in that quiet space. And when I got my hell no, I really didn't know what it was about. You don't have to know.
I
You
like
don't
that.
have to know what your purpose is. You just have to move, which
Mm,
is daring. So you can, one way to do it, that's a whole other talk, is go through, tap back into what matters most to you. Like your core value. You hear people talk about your core values.
Hmm.
What matters
mhm.
to you most? And you can Google list of core values and you can go through that list, check off all the ones that matter to you, then narrow them down to 5 and then put them in the order. And something will happen during that process to create clarity around something that you like. Another great resource is, have you ever heard about the love languages, 5 love
Mhm,
languages? Yeah.
Yes.
mhm.
Take the love language quiz. Find out what your love language is. Like you could, your love
Hmm.
language, if it's acts of service, volunteerism. There you go. So
Right.
those are a couple things, but if you really are stuck, and the reason daring became, and I learned daring, the word came to me when I heard a speaker speak about her year of doing something new every day for a year. So it's about stepping out and trying new things. And it doesn't have to be huge, big things.
Yeah.
Start small. We are very routine when we have our kids at home. And we make sure
Yeah.
we're home at a certain time and dinner and basketball practice and volleyball practice. And we're running and doing. When the kids leave, you have all this space. Shake up your routine. So one thing that helped me was I switched up my routine. Even when my daughter left and my son was still at home, we changed our dinner routine to fit our
Mm,
relationship better. So maybe don't worry about being home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon anymore. While everyone's racing home after dinner, go run your errands, go for a walk, read a book. So do something different than your normal routine because you can,
Hmm.
and shake it up a little bit and try small things. Getting out of our headspace when we're stuck in, oh, what's my purpose? I want to feel fulfilled. What's my purpose? I don't know what to do. That's all in your head. You want to drop from
right.
up here and you want to drop back down in your heart. So you know what? Spend a day giving out random compliments to strangers.
I
Spend a
love
day.
that.
This is all, and these are things that Luann Kahn in her book "I Dare Me." That's the
Oh, what
speaker.
a great book.
I know. I love it.
Oh,
I
she's
dare me.
wonderful. Luann Kahn's an 8-time Emmy award-winning journalist from Philadelphia, and she's now my friend. Spend a day letting people in front of you everywhere you go. In the car, wave them up. In line at the checkout. Talk to random strangers for no reason. Just say hi, smile, smile. What are some other things that I've done? Oh, how many times do you drive by a playground? Pull your car over, get out, sit on a swing. You can try the sliding board. It was a little snug for me. Didn't too
Yeah.
much for
The
myself.
last time I sat in a swing, I was like, wow, oh, these fit better than a few years ago.
I was just playing a playground. I mean, sitting there watching the kids could be a little creepy, but don't go up to it. But like, maybe you haven't been on a bicycle. These are all little. Take a cooking class,
Yeah.
research class that you've always wanted. Think back to before you were a mom, before you were even somebody's partner in life. What were things you liked to do? So,
Oh,
I mean, and that's, it leads you to your purpose. Cause when you do things that make you just not think, just
Yes.
do, just be, opportunity, people do present themselves in
I
ways that you would
really love that.
never would I have thought I'd be a life coach. Never would I have thought I'd be interviewed on podcasts ever. I didn't have a dream of being a speaker. Never would I have thought. And all this came just by stepping out of my comfort zone, trying new things, and yes, saying yes, even when I was scared.
mm.
Right.
Oh,
Sitting in our rooms going, think, what's my purpose is not really ever going to be
No,
fruitful.
yeah.
no,
Especially because I think one of the best things you can learn is something that wasn't for you as well. If you try something and be like,
True.
oh, I didn't like that. Yeah, it might just have been a one off experience, or it might just, listen to your gut and say, yeah, okay, well, let's try something else. And
yeah, absolutely. Say yes to go to a conference, a women's conference, even if you're not in business. That's where I heard Luann Kahn speak. And in that moment, it was like, boom, I'm a mom who dares. I
yeah,
was like, oh my God. I went home and created a Facebook group called Moms Who Dare, and I wrote her a letter.
love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sometimes just don't even stop to take, yeah, you didn't take the time to think about it and talk yourself out of it.
I
Just
just did it.
move. Just
That's my
move.
special gift, is talking myself
Just
out of
keep
things.
moving. Yeah,
Yes.
moving.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we got to keep moving here too, so we can do the look, listen, learns. But want to make sure
Yes.
that we let our listeners know the best place to find you and any of your upcoming events and seminars.
Yeah. So, I mean, the best place for anybody is our Facebook group, Moms Who Dare. And I have, and on my website, jodysilverman.com, because I have a lot of free resources there, the self-taught cleanup resources there. So, you can grab that. There's also an event calendar for any events that we have coming up.
Oh,
Um,
and there's also the getting ready to send the kids off to college thing that I'm saving.
uh,
I'm saving that. Then I'll.
it's a whole conversation on how to stay connected with your adult children. That's a big one for a lot of us in midlife, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, start with your self-talk. Start with you. You've done so much for everybody else up until now. I know we all have some. Start with you. Give yourself the gift of positive self-talk. Go out and play a little bit, try new things, find community. And yeah, so find me on Facebook at Moms Who Dare. I would love to connect.
I'm going to join
Wonderful.
today. I can't believe I haven't already done it.
I know. What are you waiting
As
for?
soon as I
Lots
don't
of
know.
events all the
Just
time.
move, Missy.
That's right.
Dare.
You know what I'm doing. I'm like, got my little list and I have to do this before this.
I like that.
Okay, well, then I think we are ready for our look, listen, learn. So, anybody who is joining us on the podcast for the first time, welcome. We are so glad you're here. And look, listen, learn are just a few minutes at the end of each show where we talk about things that we are watching, reading, or listening to, or learning about that maybe you want to incorporate into your to do list to try new things in the weeks and months ahead. So, we never like to put our guest in the hot seat first. So, Missy, I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
All right. All the seats are hot. Have I complained about the heat enough this episode? I'm
Don't say
so
I am
over it.
hot. You can say Texas is hot.
That's a
Texas is hot. Texas is hot. So my look, my read, I don't know. What's my look, my listen, my learn? my look, is In
KJ.
Her Boots by KJ Dell'Antonia. So good. I have not finished it yet, but it is great. Great. So highly recommend this for your summer or anytime reading. I'm enjoying it. In fact, I am having trouble doing other things I need to do because I just want to read.
Oh, I'm so sad. I missed her when she was
Yes,
here.
I missed her too.
I was in Belize, and so
Yeah.
hi KJ.
I was at swim meets. Are we shocked?
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so excited to read that book. I've got two more lined up, and then that one is next. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
I actually knocked a couple things out and it's like I'm going for it.
I know.
Because it's great. It's really good. And then I've been watching this weekend. I had quite a bit of downtime. I did not have COVID, although I was sure that's what I had. Tested a few times. I just had a cold, I guess. So some of my things I had planned to do, I ended up not doing because people are afraid that even if you say you don't have COVID, that you do, which I understand. I fully
Yes.
understand. So I just stayed home.
Yeah, I
I
would
did
not
not
let
want
you
to
in
be
the room with
patient
me.
zero. No, absolutely not. I mean, we had some guests coming that we said, let's do it another weekend because we don't need to risk it. Even if all the tests, I PCR'd and everything. So who knows, but tons of congestion. I still kind of have some if I sound funky, but the Popcast with Knox and Jamie is a podcast I like to listen to. And they've been doing deep dives on pilots, TV pilots. And they did a deep dive on the ER pilot. And I thought, gosh, I have not revisited ER since I was in college. That used to be our Thursday nights. We'd watch
Oh,
Thursday night
yes.
lineup. finish with ER, and then we would leave and go out because we were young and stupid. So I hadn't seen it. I really don't think I'd seen an episode since I probably watched off and on until it went off the air, but
Yeah.
hadn't seen it in forever. So I went back this weekend and watched the pilot of ER and several other episodes, and it kind of holds up.
I bet it
Pretty
does.
fun to watch.
Is that George Clooney in there?
Yes. Baby George Clooney. Oh, he's so dreamy. They're all so cute and young. And I was like transported to this college, my younger self, it helped me reflect a lot because I hadn't been in that thought space in a long time. Thought about
Yes.
people that I missed from that time. So tons of fun. I go watch it and just check it out again.
That
And
can
I'm
be
not
like
really
a
learning.
time machine. You can be like,
It's
I
like a time
remember
machine.
that place we went to after this episode.
Yes. I was like transported to my apartment,
Isn't
like
that-
just there sitting on my futon with my roommate and our crazy cat named Phoebe and watching George.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
So yeah, so I highly recommend it. It's really fun. Sometimes you watch things you watched back in the day and you're like, ooh, no. Can't watch
Yes.
that again. But this one sort of holds up. And sadly, a lot of the issues they're confronting and dealing with, we're still dealing with. So that's kind of sad.
Oh my gosh.
And
Same
I'm
thing
not
with
really
Friday Night
learning anything.
Lights.
Yeah, same with Friday Night Lights. It's the same issues that
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, we're still talking about this?
we're
Oh my
still dealing
gosh.
with this.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched some Designing Women not long ago because something popped up on social media. It reminded me, and I loved Designing Women. And I mean, gun control, racism, all the things that Julia Sugarbaker is on talking about and fighting for. I'm like, damn it, we're still there.
Well, we made
Uh,
progress, and then you go do that, and you're like, we're here. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah, you
arc
think
is
we're-
long. The arc is long.
The arc is really long.
It's
so
too long. Yeah.
yeah, so that's me, because as I've mentioned a few times, it's too hot for learning. I'm not hugging, I'm not learning. I'm having a Seinfeld week.
I love it. Okay, Jody. Hopefully the temperature is allowing you to learn or look or listen.
Yes, it's not as hot in Philly as it is in Texas. That's for sure. I have a lot of friends in
Lucky.
Dallas, Fort Worth area, so I know they're hot. So I'm watching. I am a summer AGT addict. America's Got Talent.
Oh, yes.
I'm like all about dreams coming true and watching people, and so like I can't wait for summertime. But all the other shows are on hold until September 9th. AGT. So I sit there and I watch it all the time. So
And
that's what
cry. We always cry.
Oh,
best, right? And then I'm not listening to anything. I'm reading. I do more reading in the summer right now.
yeah.
So I just finished reading, and we actually have our member book club discussion because we have a book club, A Year by the Sea by Joan Anderson.
Oh,
And it is about a midlife woman who I'm not going to spoiler alert, but her husband gets a job somewhere else she doesn't want to go. So she goes to their Cape Cod house. They're separated for a year. There's a couple of visits, but it's a really great read. It's well written, but it's fast. I think every woman, no matter where you are in relationship, good, bad, and different, could relate to something about Joan's story.
Oh, sure.
So I love this. And then I just started reading, because that I finished. I just started reading Hidden Blessings, Midlife Crisis is a Spiritual Awakening.
there you go.
I
I
know.
love.
It might not sound like easy submarine, but actually it's really, I'm really enjoying it. I got very spiritual during my midlife. I'm enhancing my practices, but this is really like, oh, I get this. Talks about all the stage of midlife. Good
Yeah.
find your purpose from this book. And as far as learning, big dairy news for me. Not only did I become a certified life coach in 2015, I just got my Happy for No Reason. I'm a Happy for No Reason certified trainer.
Oh my gosh, I've never
I've
heard
never
of
even
that.
heard of it. Yeah,
book.
what is
It's a
Happy for
book.
No
Another
Reason?
book, Happy for No Reason, which the title alone just grabbed me because
Yeah.
that's another conversation for another story. I would love to come back and talk about that. It's about being happy regardless of circumstances. And God knows there's a lot of circumstances out there today. There's a lot of uncertainty out in the world, but Happy for No Reason, a lot of research-based stuff, Missy, you would like, about how we all have this happiness set point. And I loved it so much that I wanted to add it to my coaching programs. So I became a certified trainer. And I literally on Friday got my certification. I passed another test.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was my learning. I'm finished learning. I'm taking the rest of the summer off. I'm resting my brain.
Yes.
I don't know. It sounds like all those books you read or anything that you're
Well,
looking
you
at
know
sounds
what?
like it's a learn.
It was Here by the Sea was enjoyable. It was
Yeah.
enjoyable. This
I'm
is
going to pick that up. Cape Cod is one of my favorite settings for a book.
never been. It's on my list, so I have to go.
Oh, that
Yes.
sounds amazing.
Yes. I've only been once and I would like to live there.
I know. I just need a spare house apparently, so I can write a book
Yes,
about how I go stay there.
Yes.
that's my problem too, Suzanne. The house.
I am lacking in extra homes.
Oh, dang. Yeah, we got rid of our Seattle house. So, plus, I would have had to stay with our renters. Hello. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Okay. So, what am I looking, listening, learning? Oh my gosh. Just because I'm always, really on the cutting edge of the pop culture, I'm listening to Where the Crawdads Sing. I mean, how long's that book been out? But
Probably not
finally.
that long. I mean, not ER long. You're just a few years.
That's true. It is less long than me just finally finishing Friday Night Lights. So yeah, I'm listening to that. And I know Missy, you were not the biggest fan, but I
It
am
was, and I don't
loving
know
it.
why. I wonder if I should have listened to it. I don't know why. I read it and I felt broken because everyone loved it and was raving about it. And I was like, well,
you know what? I'm kind of wishing I had, well, we'll see. I am listening to it and I listen to enough books that I have I'm almost like fangirling over some of the talent that does the reading.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, and she's a really amazing narrator, but her accent for the characters is a little. And maybe, I mean, she is a swamp girl, so maybe it is supposed to be that hardcore. But to the point where it's so stereotypical, like sounding ignorant versus just someone having the natural accent of the space.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds a little too cliche. Or I just listened to something this weekend about how the trick of doing an accent is to just not do it all the time. Like someone's drawl comes and goes. It doesn't, it's not hitting every consonant and every vowel. And so part of me is like, I just expect this girl to just be bumping into things. She's so dumb. And she's not.
And she's not. She's super smart.
And the movie's coming out, and I'm trying to finish that before I see the movie, which, speaking of finishing things before I read the movie, I talked about Holes a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Did you watch the movie?
We finished it, and we're halfway through the movie. Finished the book because my son told me we could not watch the movie until I finished the book.
Good rule.
And I highly recommend it. We had talked about this before when I was I was like Googling what do 12 to 13-year-old boys read, trying to find anything to get him back into reading. And Holes was at the top of all these lists. And it's not a new book or anything. And you know what the problem was? I had always got it mixed up with Tremors. So literally until the last page of the book, I was like, where are the big worm things? I don't know why. In my head, I'd gotten it mixed up with the Kevin Bacon 80s movie Tremors.
That's funny.
And I don't know. And my husband had too. So we were watching the movie. He's like, oh, is this the one with Kevin Bacon in it? I was like, that's what I thought too. But no. So Holes, no worms, no Kevin Bacon. But there's also holes. Yeah, there's also holes that things are in. But yeah, really, really good. Disney, they turn it into a Disney movie. And so it's a little... I don't know. It's a little Bad News Bearsy sometimes, but it's still it's fun. We're finishing the second half of it tonight. So I've been looking at that. I've been looking at the movie Holes, and then also looking at lots of virtual college tours, kind of in a panic about. Everybody keeps on saying, oh, you need to do early decision. You need to do early decision because things are so tough getting into these schools. And I'm like, well, then you need to go to every school visit by October 1st. This isn't physically possible. And so doing as much as we can from virtual tours, but I'm like, can we get to Chicago and to Boston and to Syracuse in the next 3 weeks? I don't think we can. So yeah, and I'm also learning that I'm done with virtual college tours. So I'm kind of done too. So but working on that. So that's first step towards empty nesting, I know, is getting this college thing figured out, if that's the way your kid decides to go. And I think my son is going to be so lucky. We're going to have all this stuff worked out by the time it's his turn.
Keep trying to tell my younger one that. I'm like, this is a bonus. And he's like, do I have to go?
Oh
Yep,
my gosh.
you have to go.
Yeah. It's kind of like having how you treat the second kid. I mean, I think that's how the college approaches could be. It's like, okay, now I know what a college tour is. Now I know what all these things are. Now I know what early decisions are. Like, it's been this learning curve has just been like straight up. So yeah, we could do what's the group that I like so much? Grown and Flown.
Grown and Flown.
Yeah. So since I am far from an expert on this, I've been getting a lot of information from Grown and Flown. So I highly recommend people go check out their group for dealing with your collegey stuff too.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Is
yeah,
that
so that's
you?
all I've
That's
been
all?
look, listen,
All
learning
right.
this week.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. This was super fun.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you for having me. And yeah, you'll get through the whole college. It is Grown and Float is an amazing resource.
Yes.
An amazing-
They have these little college spin-off groups.
Yep.
So I'm in the Grown and Flown for visual arts students. So it's very, very niche for some of those
Then-
college groups.
Yeah.
I'll send you my tips for moving day.
Oh, Lord.
yeah.
I have 9 tips for making moving days smooth and less stressful for all.
Okay. Well, we've got 1 year, but I probably should start reading it now.
I have 2 years, but I think about it all the time.
Oh my God. But no, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. I feel so motivated. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to do like today. Just start moving.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
both.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining us for the Mom and ... podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show today. And if you know someone else who could benefit from today's episode, be sure to share it with them. Also, please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find links to all the things we discussed today in the show notes over at our website, momandpodcast.com, with the AND spelled out. In between shows, you can find us at the socials, including our private Mom and Community Facebook group. You can find links to the group, all of our socials, and our questions and comments section over at our website, momandpodcast.com. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you so much. Now go out there and make your ellipses count.